Welcome, gents. The most dangerous person is the one who has nothing left to prove. If you're watching this, you already know you're not like everyone else. You've walked alone more times than you can count. You've felt misunderstood, underestimated, and even feared by others. Not because you wanted it, but because you refused to follow the crowd. That's the Sigma path. It's a life of independence, self-mastery, and constant evolution. But there's a stage even the strongest Sigmas hesitate to reach, a point where your identity, your desires, even your need for connection start to dissolve. This is the Sigma male final form. It's a state of being so raw, so untouchable, and so aware that even the most confident Sigmas feel a flicker of fear when they imagine it. Reaching this level isn't about power over others or control of life. It's about total clarity, absolute freedom, and the courage to face yourself with no masks, no pretenses, and no excuses. It's lonely, intense, and sometimes frightening, but it's the ultimate version of yourself. And the truth is, you already have the capacity to reach it. You just need to see it, understand it, and confront what it demands. Watch this video to the end because we're going to explore every layer of this final form. By the time you finish, you'll know exactly why you are a Sigma, what it takes to reach the top of your own potential, and why even the strongest Sigma fears what comes next. Let's get started, gents. Number 1. The mind becomes a fortress. Imagine a mind so sharp it slices through any illusion, any lie, any pretense. That is the mind of a Sigma male in his final form. Everything is analyzed, processed, and understood with precision that borders on the uncanny. You notice patterns others miss, you predict reactions before they happen, and you understand motives that are invisible to everyone else. Your thoughts are razor sharp, your awareness unparalleled, and yet there is a cost few see coming. This clarity, as empowering as it is, can feel like a prison. There is no room for mental laziness, no space to turn off or escape. Where other people can scroll aimlessly through their phones or lose themselves in idle chatter, you cannot. Your mind is constantly alert, constantly working, constantly weighing every detail. Every word spoken to you, every action observed, every small choice made by those around you is catalogued, understood, and filed. This mental rigor means you rarely stumble, rarely get caught off guard, and rarely make mistakes, but it is exhausting in a way that cannot be described lightly. Distractions that bring others peace feel hollow or even irritating. You notice the underlying tension in a room, the unspoken truths people try to hide, and the subtle manipulations that run beneath the surface of everyday life. It is a heightened existence that leaves no room for ignorance, for blissful unawareness, for the simple comforts of not noticing. Your mind becomes both your weapon and your burden. And yet this is part of the evolution. This fortress of thought is what sets you apart, what allows you to navigate life with unmatched precision. It is intimidating, even to yourself, because it exposes the weight of awareness. You cannot forget, cannot ignore, cannot escape. The brilliance of your mind comes with a cost, the constant presence of your own power, and the inescapable solitude that clarity demands. This is the reality of reaching the Sigma male final form. It is awe-inspiring, it is terrifying, and it is the ultimate expression of mental mastery. Number 2, he becomes the version of himself he used to protect others from. Imagine reaching a point where you no longer hold anything back. For a Sigma male in his final form, this is the moment he becomes the version of himself he used to hide, the part of him he softened to protect others or to make them feel comfortable. For years, he dimmed his presence, muted his intensity, and restrained his sharpness because it was easier to blend in, to avoid making others uncomfortable or to avoid conflict. But that version of him was incomplete. It was a compromise, a partial expression of the force he truly carried inside. In the final form, that restraint falls away. He no longer softens, no longer tames his thoughts or actions for the sake of someone else's comfort. His presence is full, raw, and undeniable. People feel it immediately. The subtle power he once held back becomes impossible to ignore. The quiet intensity, the razor-sharp mind, and the unwavering independence, all of it comes forward without apology or dilution. For the first time, others see the full weight of who he really is, and it is both mesmerizing and intimidating. This transformation is not about ego or arrogance. It is about authenticity and self-ownership. He is no longer performing to fit into expectations or protect fragile egos. He has realized that holding back diminishes him, and in his final form, compromise is no longer an option. What he once restrained out of consideration now becomes his strength. There is also a lesson in this. People only respect what they cannot take for granted. When he softens, they may appreciate him, but they never truly grasp the power of his being. By embracing the full version of himself, he commands respect effortlessly. He is no longer the man who tiptoes around the comfort of others. He is the man whose presence cannot be ignored, whose force is both compelling and unforgettable, and whose life is lived fully on his own terms. This is the Sigma male final form in its purest state. Raw, unapologetic, and undeniable, it is the full expression of the man he was always meant to be. Number 3, you fear stagnation above all. Imagine reaching a point in life where standing still feels worse than failing. For a Sigma male, stagnation is a fear that runs deeper than any external threat. Growth is no longer optional. It is a requirement, a rule you live by even when it exhausts you. Every day, every decision, every choice carries the unspoken question. Am I moving forward, or am I slipping into sameness? The thought of becoming static, predictable, or ordinary is terrifying because you know that once the mind and spirit stop stretching, the essence of who you are begins to crumble. This fear is not about ambition in the traditional sense. It is not about chasing status, wealth, or recognition. It is about avoiding the slow, invisible death of your potential. You see patterns, weaknesses, and comfort zones that others ignore. You feel the pull of routine, the temptation to settle, and the ease of repetition, but you cannot accept it. The Sigma understands that predictability is a trap. It lulls people into mediocrity, dulls the mind, and numbs the spirit. The terror of stagnation becomes almost physical. It creeps in during quiet moments when you look at yourself in the mirror and ask hard questions. Are you pushing yourself? Are you evolving? Are you challenging what you think you know? You cannot lie to yourself because the truth is sharp, undeniable, and sometimes painful. Every choice to grow becomes a small act of defiance against the inertia that wants to claim you. And yet, this relentless drive is what separates a Sigma from the rest. Others may rest comfortably, but you cannot. You embrace the discomfort of growth because it keeps you alive, aware, and powerful. The fear itself becomes fuel. You learn to use it, to let it sharpen your instincts, your decisions, and your perspective on life. Stagnation is the enemy, and the pursuit of growth is the constant battle that defines you. Even the most advanced Sigma fears stopping because he knows that life rewards only those who keep moving forward, and the moment he stops, he begins to fade. Number 4, he sees how rare he truly is, and it terrifies him. Imagine looking at yourself and suddenly realizing just how rare you are. For a Sigma male in his final form, this moment of clarity is both exhilarating and terrifying. It is not about ego or feeling superior. It is not about thinking you are better than others. It is a quiet, almost startling recognition that very few people will ever truly understand the depths of who you are. Your thoughts, your perspective, and the way you experience the world are unlike the majority, and that realization hits with a strange intensity. This awareness can feel isolating when you notice how differently you see the world, how you think in patterns most cannot follow, and how your priorities are fundamentally unique. You realize that many will never relate to you. They might admire you, fear you, or even be drawn to you, but understanding, truly understanding, that is rare. And that rarity is not a badge to show off. It is a truth you carry quietly, a part of the burden and the gift of being Sigma. And yet, in that loneliness, there is freedom. Freedom from needing validation, from explaining yourself, from conforming to expectations you never agreed to. You no longer seek approval because you understand that it is not worth the effort, and it can never fully capture who you are anyway. You move through life on your own terms, guided by your internal compass, embracing the solitude that allows you to grow without distraction or compromise. This realization is humbling. It teaches you patience, self-reliance, and a deep appreciation for the few connections that do reach your level. Those who truly understand you become precious beyond measure, but you no longer need numbers, crowds, or superficial bonds to feel complete. Recognizing your rarity is a pivotal moment in the Sigma journey. It is the point where fear and liberation coexist. It is uncomfortable, intense, and powerful all at once. You are rare, you are misunderstood, and you are entirely free. Number 5, you become a paradox. Imagine reaching a point where who you are cannot be pinned down or defined. For a Sigma male in his final form, you become a paradox. You are invisible when it suits you, able to slip through crowds, unnoticed and untouchable. Yet in the same moment, your presence is unavoidable. People feel it even when they cannot see it. Your influence is subtle but undeniable, and that duality confuses everyone around you, including yourself at times. You are gentle in your approach, calm and composed, capable of kindness and patience that feels effortless. Yet there is a quiet intensity beneath it, a force that can be terrifying because it is precise, controlled, and unapologetic. People who think they understand you quickly realize they do not. You are free in the sense that you answer only to yourself, making choices unshaped by others' expectations or judgments. Yet that freedom is paired with an invisible structure, a discipline so strict that it governs your actions, thoughts, and even your desires. You are bound by rules no one else can see, yet those rules make you unstoppable. This paradox is both a gift and a burden. You can move through life with unmatched autonomy, but it also sets you apart in ways that are lonely and intense. Others struggle to relate to you because you refuse to fit neatly into any box, any category, or any expectation. You become someone people admire, fear, and sometimes resent all at once, without ever fully understanding why. The Sigma paradox teaches a vital truth. Strength is not only about force, and freedom is not only about choice. Real power lies in mastering yourself, in balancing extremes, and in existing fully aware in a world that tries constantly to define you. You are a walking contradiction, a living example of what it means to be untouchable and entirely human at the same time. This is the essence of the Sigma male final form. You are impossible to contain, impossible to predict, and entirely unforgettable. Your paradox is your power, and your power is your identity. Number 6, the illusion of connection. Fractures. Imagine reaching a stage where you see people as they truly are, not as they pretend to be. For a Sigma male in his final form, the illusion of connection begins to shatter. Conversations that once felt meaningful now feel like performances. Smiles, compliments, gestures of friendship. They are no longer taken at face value because you notice the subtle intentions behind them. The world is full of masks, and you can see every single one even when others cannot. This clarity can feel isolating. Real intimacy becomes rare because very few can meet you where you are. Most people operate on surface level. They seek approval, validation, or convenience. They are not equipped to navigate the depth, intensity, and awareness that you carry. And while you once tried to bridge that gap, over time you stop expecting it. You understand that most connections are temporary, transactional, or superficial. This is not cynicism, it is realism. The fracture of connection forces you inward. You become selective, almost surgical, in how you invest your energy. The bonds you form are rare but profound. They are with people who can hold their own in your presence, who are willing to meet truth with truth, who can handle the weight of your awareness without flinching. The rest are observed, appreciated for what they are, but not relied upon for emotional sustenance. This stage can be frightening because human beings crave connection. You feel the pull of loneliness, even as you understand the necessity of distance. The irony is that your detachment does not make you cold. It makes you precise. You know who is worth your attention, who can match your depth, and who will drain it. Your world becomes clearer, sharper, and more defined, but it comes at the cost of the casual bonds that once filled your life. This is the Sigma male final form in action. You exist in a realm where masks are useless, superficiality is obvious, and real intimacy is rare. It is intense, isolating, and powerful. It teaches you that the depth of your awareness comes with a price, and that true connection is now a rare and precious treasure. Number 7. Pleasure feels hollow. Imagine reaching a point where the things that used to thrill you no longer do. Money, recognition, even admiration from others that once fueled your ego now feel empty. You chase them, and they sparkle for a moment, but the shine fades faster than you can hold it. The parties, the accolades, the victories, they no longer satisfy the deeper part of you that craves meaning. You start noticing a strange truth. Everything the world sells as pleasure is temporary, shallow, and easily exhausted. At first, this can feel unsettling. You worked hard to achieve, to prove yourself, to earn the rewards that society calls success. Yet when you finally have them, there is no rush of triumph, no lasting joy, just a quiet emptiness. It is in that emptiness that the Sigma begins to wake up. You realize that the real satisfaction is not in what others can see or admire. It is not in the applause, the envy, or the fleeting thrills of conquest. The only thing that matters is what is happening inside you, the raw, unfiltered process of becoming who you are meant to be. This is where self-realization becomes the true pursuit. It is gritty, it is relentless, and it cannot be outsourced. No amount of praise or luxury can replace the clarity of understanding yourself, of seeing your mind, your motives, and your growth with complete honesty. Each step of mastery, each moment of insight, each breakthrough is far more exhilarating than anything external. The world may never see it, and the applause may never come, but the satisfaction is undeniable, raw, and deeply personal. This is why even the strongest Sigma feels a strange solitude at the top. The pleasures that once drove you are hollow because you have outgrown them. What matters now is the journey inward, the sharpening of your mind, and the courage to confront yourself without filters. It is not easy, it is not flashy, and it is not something anyone else can give you. This is the highest form of fulfillment, the kind that leaves others wondering why you seem untouchable, unshakable, and completely in command of your own existence. Number 8, he becomes immune to emotional bait. Imagine reaching a place where nothing anyone does can manipulate you emotionally. For a Sigma male in his final form, this is the moment he becomes immune to emotional bait. Arguments, guilt trips, drama, and manipulation no longer provoke a reaction. People might try, often without realizing it, but he has learned the hard truth. Responding is almost always a loss, an energy drain, or a distraction from what truly matters. This immunity is not born from coldness or detachment. It is not about becoming unfeeling or unreachable. On the contrary, it comes from understanding the cost of emotional reactivity. Every time he reacts impulsively to anger, shame, or provocation, he pays a price, often a hidden one. It might be time, focus, clarity, or even peace of mind. Over time, he learned that those who try to manipulate him are often doing it to feed their own insecurities. Responding only fuels their game and weakens his position. The Sigma learns to observe instead of participate. He notices the patterns of manipulation, the tactics people use, and the emotional hooks they lay. And instead of snapping or defending himself, he simply steps outside the trap. He stays calm, steady, and fully aware, letting others reveal themselves without wasting energy on them. His presence alone communicates strength because he is untouchable to their emotional chaos. This immunity transforms interactions completely. He is no longer pulled into fights he does not want, guilt he does not owe, or drama he cannot control. He maintains his focus, his energy, and his boundaries with absolute clarity. People may not understand it, and some may even resent it, but they cannot shake it. Becoming immune to emotional bait is one of the most powerful steps toward self-mastery. It is the point where a Sigma sees through the noise, the games, and the manipulations, and chooses himself above all else. In his final form, he is untouchable, not because he does not feel, but because he finally understands which battles are worth fighting and which are simply distractions. Number 9. His boundaries stop being walls and start being filters. Imagine a Sigma male in his final form, standing in a world full of people, demands, and distractions. At this stage, his boundaries are no longer rigid walls that block everything. They have evolved into precise filters. He does not shut the world out blindly. Instead, he evaluates every interaction, every request, and every influence that comes his way. Only the rare few, those who meet his standards of depth, authenticity, and understanding, are allowed to pass through. Everyone else is noticed, understood, and respectfully filtered out. This is not about arrogance or isolation. It is about survival, clarity, and self-respect. Over time, he has seen what drains him, what distracts him, and what diminishes his focus. He has also learned which connections elevate him, inspire him, and challenge him in meaningful ways. His boundaries now serve as a tool, a lens through which he measures the value of each person and each situation. They are not walls meant to hurt or intimidate. They are filters designed to protect his energy and his growth. The transformation of boundaries into filters is subtle but powerful. It changes how he interacts with the world. He can engage deeply without losing himself. He can say yes to the few who matter without being weighed down by the many who do not. People may feel the difference instinctively. They notice that he is not easily swayed, that his attention and effort are selective, and that entering his inner circle is an honor rather than a right. This filtering process allows him to live life fully on his own terms. It gives him control over his energy, his time, and his focus. It sharpens his interactions, makes his presence impactful, and ensures that he is not wasted on what is superficial or fleeting. In his final form, the Sigma male's boundaries are no longer a shield to hide behind. They are a refined instrument of discernment, a mechanism that ensures his energy is spent wisely, and that only those rare few who truly matter are allowed to enter his life. Number 10, he stops giving second chances automatically. Imagine reaching a point where giving second chances is no longer automatic. For a Sigma male in his final form, this is a hard-earned realization. He has seen too many promises broken, too many patterns repeat, and too many people take advantage of his patience. Over time, he understands that repeated forgiveness, without change or awareness from the other person, drains his spirit. It diminishes his energy, clouds his focus, and distracts him from the life he is building for himself. In this stage, he no longer reacts impulsively to apologies or excuses. He observes behavior rather than words. Patterns reveal themselves quickly to him now, and he trusts those patterns far more than any promises. If someone consistently shows disregard, dishonesty, or manipulation, he recognizes it and adjusts his boundaries accordingly. Forgiveness becomes a tool, not a default reaction. It is offered selectively, consciously, and only when it serves growth rather than comfort for someone else. This change is not about bitterness or cynicism. It is about self-preservation and clarity. He has learned that holding on to people who repeatedly fail him does not build loyalty. It builds resentment and fatigue. By seeing patterns instead of listening to promises, he frees himself from unnecessary emotional labor. He no longer invests energy where it will be wasted, and he reserves his presence and attention for the rare few who genuinely deserve it. The shift is subtle but transformative. It affects every relationship, from friendships to partnerships. Others may notice his new approach and misinterpret it as coldness, but the truth is that he is more attuned to human behavior than ever before. His discernment ensures that he surrounds himself with people who are capable of consistency, loyalty, and authenticity. In his final form, the Sigma male's capacity for forgiveness is not infinite. He has learned that repeated chances can weaken him, and the rare ability to forgive wisely becomes one of his greatest strengths. He no longer gives automatically. He gives consciously, and in doing so, he protects his energy, his growth, and his peace of mind. Number 11, he stops letting love blind him to disrespect. Imagine reaching a point where love no longer clouds your judgment. For a Sigma male in his final form, this is the moment he stops letting affection blind him to disrespect. He can care deeply, even passionately, yet the moment someone crosses his boundaries or diminishes his dignity, he does not hesitate to step away. This is not about being cold or unfeeling. It is about self-respect, clarity, and understanding the cost of allowing mistreatment into your life. Before reaching this stage, he may have tolerated behavior he should not have, excused repeated offenses, or softened his responses to avoid conflict. He might have convinced himself that love would fix it, or that patience could change someone. But over time he learns a brutal truth. Love is never enough to cover disrespect. Words can be empty, promises can be false, and affection can coexist with disregard. Only actions matter, and patterns speak louder than feelings. Reaching this level of self-awareness is rare. It cannot be taught, bought, or imitated. It is forged through experience, through heartbreak, betrayal, and the constant testing of boundaries. The Sigma male in his final form understands that walking away is not a failure. It is a declaration of self-worth. It is choosing yourself over the illusion of connection, choosing dignity over the comfort of familiarity. This understanding transforms his relationships completely. He loves with depth, intensity, and honesty, but he does not compromise his standards. People quickly realize that his presence is a privilege, not a right. He does not linger in toxic situations, and he does not allow passion to justify degradation. The rare few who earn his trust experience love in its purest form, untainted by fear, desperation, or blind forgiveness. In his final form, The Sigma male's approach to love is powerful because it is conscious. He has learned that true love does not require sacrificing self-respect. Once he reaches this level, he can love fiercely and fully, yet walk away the moment dignity is touched. That level of self-knowledge is priceless, and it is part of what makes the Sigma male final form so fearsome, rare, and utterly magnetic. In final words, the ultimate freedom is knowing who you are and refusing to settle for anything less. If you've watched this far, you already know something most people never understand. Being a Sigma is not about status, power, or recognition. It is about independence, clarity, and mastery of yourself. The Sigma male final form is not a goal anyone can reach easily. It is intense, isolating, and at times terrifying because it strips away illusions, attachments, and the comfort of being understood. Yet that is also its power. You are rare. You think differently, feel differently, and experience life on a level that most will never grasp. That can be lonely, but it is also freeing. You no longer rely on validation, nor are you swayed by the opinions of others. You see patterns, read intentions, and act from awareness rather than reaction. Your mind, your energy, and your presence are yours to control fully, and that is the ultimate strength a human can possess. Being in this form does not make you cold or unfeeling. It makes you precise, intentional, and untouchable in ways that command respect. The world will try to pull you into drama, doubt, or distraction, but you now recognize the cost of responding. You give your energy only to what matters, and you no longer allow yourself to be diminished by those who cannot meet you where you are. This is not a warning. It is a recognition of your potential. Every Sigma watching this has the capacity to reach this level. It requires courage, discipline, and the willingness to confront your own truth. You may fear it because it asks more than most are willing to give, but it is also liberating because it allows you to exist fully, freely, and powerfully. Remember, being a Sigma is not about being understood by the world. It is about understanding yourself and moving through life without compromise. Embrace it, honor it, and step confidently into the version of yourself that even you might fear, because that version is unstoppable, extraordinary, and entirely yours. Thank you for watching, Gents, and God bless you.